global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. We are so excited to have you again. Hakim Baba Ahmed, the man who just resigned fairly recently as a special advisor on political affairs in the office of the vice president, has finally spoken up. Don't forget that a few days ago he wrote an open letter to the president, but this time around he granted an interview, and you'll be shocked the things he had laid out to Nigerians. You can now see the reasons why Bola Tinubu is making some of the decisions he is making. Availability to Nigerians and even those whom he had appointed is at a zero level. Nobody sees him. I won't want to let the cat out of the bag. Just hear in full details what Hakim Baba Ahmed have to tell Nigerians and why he's making demands that Bola Tinubu should step aside come 2027.
The credibility, especially after a contentious election.
If there was, I wasn't aware of it. I like to believe that on my own merit, I deserve to be appointed advisor on political matters. I didn't need
I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, well, I didn't need an additional regional stamp. To become an advisor. And I didn't see any sinister motive. People say, oh, they wanted to keep you quiet. Oh, they wanted to buy your voices and everything. I mean, I started that job, I think, when I was close to 69. I'm 70 now, so I know a little bit about it.
Well, you look like a young man to me.
Oh, thank you. I knew what I was doing, and I can tell you that I didn't see any sinister motive or a trick involved in appointing me.
But you must have been quite disheartened, I mean, when you came out, having spent a considerable amount of your valuable time, in such a place, and much use wasn't being made of you. Because, I mean, I say this because you then came out and you've just subsequently written an open letter to the president. You suggested that the president has a closed-door style of leadership, is indifferent to complaints about ethnic bias in appointments, and frequently runs the country from abroad whilst attending to personal matters. And you say that he's become something of an isolated leader heading an insular administration. I mean, that sounds pretty strong.
Well, it would have been easier if it was just about me. Am I busy? Am I lazy? Am I just going there to the villa to feel good? I have a nice title. I'm advisor to the president. If it was all about me, quite possibly I would have stayed longer. But I felt I could have been a lot more useful to the country and to the administration. I believed also, I don't like for this thing to sound boastful, I believe I had something to offer.
Indeed.
Which was the reason why they asked me to go there. Not to sit idle and to watch a lot of things going wrong. You don't have an opportunity to fix them. You don't have an opportunity to engage the president, who has all the powers to be engaged. You don't have any channel. I saw the vice president virtually every working day. We talked, we discussed the country. But Nigeria requires a lot more than talking with the vice president.
But did you have an opportunity to meet the president?
No, I didn't.
For your entire time there?
No, I think I met him. I saw him 3 times in the mosque in the villa, and we sort of shook hands. Shake. There's a mosque in the villa, so you would see. But I never had a chance to sit down with President Tinubu.
And why do you think that was the case?
I honestly don't know. I think I think part of the problem is that he never really had time for people like us.
People like you? I mean, you were a special advisor.
Yeah. I'm not sure he had time for a lot of the people working for him. you quoted part of the letter that I wrote to him. I used the language very carefully. Said it was insular, isolated. That's not a lazy, the words you use casually. The president really is genuinely isolated. Whether it's by choice or by circumstances we don't understand, the bottom line is he ought to be available to a lot more of the people that he had trusted, either to run ministries or departments or to advise him. And he isn't. And that's a problem for the country, not so much for him. But it's a lot, because the president of Nigeria is a hugely powerful person, and he has massive responsibility on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
So if he's not going to look for solutions to problems from people that he had appointed, there are only two options that are left. Is he getting advice from the wrong people, or is he getting no advice at all? And there are other issues that I raised in my letter. I said somehow I just think when I use the word insular, it really was about, when you hear people close to him speak about Nigeria, it's as if we live in two different worlds. That is the most frustrating thing for me. We would leave the villa, we would go home, we would watch real people, and sometimes we would drive around, we go home, we mix with poor people. We knew how desperate the country is, how desperately life is, difficult life is, the insecurity level, how high it is. People are losing hope, asking what is the value of this democracy. And sometimes they say, what are you doing there? We thought with people like you, we wouldn't be seeing some of these things. At least, are you guys really advising the president about some of these things? And it all amounts to this idea that the president is either not interested in getting advice, or is getting advice from the people that he hasn't appointed officially to give him advice. Either way, when I use those words, insular and isolated, very carefully, because that's exactly how I read it. I believe if President Tinubu was more open to suggestions and advice, and if he has higher quality of people handling sensitive positions for him, and he makes himself available to them, and they talk to him, and he tells them, they tell him what they think, I think the country will be better.
So are you going to join the new coalition that's being talked about?
At this stage, no. And I hope even in the future, I doubt it. I have very serious misgivings about all this talk about coalitions and all this jumping from one place to another one. I think these are signs of just how degenerated the political process has become. And it's a very sad thing for Nigeria today, as we speak, a country that has never faced more problems than we have, that its leadership entirely, the whole spectrum of leadership, is all running around looking for places to continue to run the country aggressively.